And the next thing I'm going to do is to compositing our sky and maybe adding some fog to increasing the atmosphere perspective. And of course, um, the reason of adding an atmosphere perspective, um, the purpose of this, uh, you know, doing it is because we wanted to grouping our value, and we're gonna grouping our value according to the idea of background, foreground, and midground. Um, so that's our guideline to doing uh well basically all this thing come to the composition. Sometimes I will in order to have a better grouping, I will just removing things in the environment, just like I think when we try to design an environment, it's very easy. We have the mindset of, okay, we have something, for example, we have maybe some element, but and in the end, in the composition, in the final 2D image, the element maybe didn't work out, didn't are in the best position, or really deliver the good, um, it's not helping to deliver the good image or storytelling or lighting. So I will remove those things. At this point, um, everything that I try to do is just try to be creating a nice composition, and by lighting, value grouping, all those things combined together. And yeah, so, but of course, it's not always like that, because obviously, if you are, being given a brief but from art director, of course, you cannot remove something, right? Sometimes like that's very crucial element for our, entire story, or gameplay. So that's really what artists, needed to do, which is the problem solving. And also, because that we needed to aware of all those aspects, and the creating a nice angle, nice, and finding the best picture, best composition, and so yeah, that's but of course right now I'm doing this for my own project. So it's like, yes, if it didn't work out, I would just remove it. Or, if I really feel that's really important, I will spend extra amount of time to, doing another level of visual development to try to think about, how to solving the problem. And yeah, this is, I would say, a visual problem solving technique, which is the essential technique for, concept artists. um, but of course, right now, I would say this tutorial is more like I demonstrating some of the principle and follow those principle. And rather than giving myself a very tricky problem and solving the problem. And yep. So let's get back to our multipass compositing and the pen over. And yeah, right now I'm going to adding fog by creating a folder, and also I will continue using mispass to generating a mask to helping us to you know to creating the effect of overlapping, and yeah, right now, as you can see, by tweaking the mask, the value of the mask, I get the area that my fog is going to shows up, and also this fog is being blocked by some foreground element, but at the same time is you know is giving increasing the sense of depth, and that's very important thing. Why? Which is the reason we are adding fog is because we want to increasing something in front of this fog, or in behind this fog. Well, sorry, to cover, and also I'm adding this flow, and those things are really just still very well. What I'm doing is just I'm continually to follow the principle I talked about previously, and also I give myself, because the reason I'm adding the fog is try to create an overlapping, layering feeling, like something behind, and also still big, medium, and small, font and shape language, and also for I think fog is a very dynamic and run or it's hard to say what it is. The kind of feeling is adding an extra level of contract between shape and form inside our environment. So it is kind of looks like kind of easy thing, but really it's there's all the thing combined together, or every principle that we talked about previously, and now we need to adding those things all together. So yeah, for sure it's tricky. Right now, of course, I'm doing a lot of time, so I kind of have a idea to doing it. And but this now now I'm talking about, I realize, man, this is damn, there's tons of problem solving uh you know needed to do. And so and that's why we need to have those a list, like previously something I talked about, all those aspects of the things we need to be aware. They are all just checklists. For example, excuse me. Okay, I'm back. So it's, for example, like big, medium, small, right? Like, and like phone language, shade language, um, and also flow, gesture, and also value grouping, foreground, midground, background, those things overlapping. Um, it's just we when we have those, when we be aware of this principle, not just guide giving us a guideline, also is giving us a to-do list. It's like, okay, when I do this, when I adding the fog, is this fog solving this problem? Is this fog solving the problem of, for example, big, medium, and small, right? And it's like, if it is, we can check, we can fill the checkbox. So yeah, so yeah, as you can see, I think there's a great example. You see, overlapping, right? I am adding this fog behind the rock in the foreground. So it's like I increasing the depth, um sorry, I increase the feeling of that. And also I think I am adding this kind of overlapping layering feeling. But of course we need to be aware to not break the grouping too much. So we need to control our value. So it's very settled, it's very settled and elegant dance. And for sure we needed to just pay attention to all those things, to do not break something we did design the previously, which is our grouping. So yeah, this is well, right now I'm drawing a lot of different silhouettes, and the purpose of adding fog is really trying to emphasize the kind of silhouette and also push something in front of it, you know. And in the end, we can creating this sense of depth. So yeah, we need to be aware of it, and also we needed to control the value of our fog, because we don't want it to have a super light, super strong fog. We just want, adding the settle, layering feeling, just a little bit. Sometimes it could be very strong, but you really, or usually is, very strong fog is we need adding on the place where, our, center point, because very strong fog means very strong contract between value, and very strong contract between value means well, a very strong contract, right? So our eye will be caught in those positions. And of course we want our eye to be look at somewhere which is the central, or very important part in our composition. So yeah, it is complicated, man. It's like, now I was talk about this idea verbally, and just I was like, man, what the f am I talking about? It's like, this is really is not something, good with, words. you know it's idea of more of idea of doing rather than talking. And I hope what I'm saying is makes sense to you. I really do, because um without this guideline, it's like, I mean, without this guideline we can still doing it. you know it just you just need to doing it by yourself couple of time, and believe you will finding the good way. But of course, for me it's like, I don't, I really, I don't sometimes, I want to, get to the answer as fast as I can, especially. especially if you are self-taught, if you are not in some school, you're self-taught. Then I think for me, like when I self-taught, I was like, man, I really want to see the result. I really want to see I'm improving very fast. Otherwise, I will get boring and would rather to play video game or something. Yeah, I mean, it's tricky, right? So maybe you are, you don't have a much resource, so you kind of didn't, you cannot go to some school, and yeah, and also, so you have to choose to self-taught, and but when you self-taught, you didn't see really good result, and you didn't do it. In the end, you don't didn't do it anyway, and just things just get fucked up very fast. Well, sorry for my language. But luckily, I was like, for me, it's like I'm doing it for a really long time. So it's like in the end, I still, get somewhere like I can see the result. And once you figure out things, once the idea is clicking in your head, you are started improving quite fast. It's at least it's for me, it's like that. So like I start to feel like I'm getting somewhere. So I just continually to moving and I will willing to spend less time to play video game and spend more time to just practice, or learning things. So yeah, and I think that's good. But I think not everyone would very luckily hit the point which is you feel comfortable and you being you feel like once you put in the hour you feel you are improving. That's something you need to put in enough mileage after in order to feel that. So yeah, sorry for my mumbo jumbo. So yeah, I think that's pretty much this chapter. And in next chapter I'm going to talk about something like pen over, like yeah, see you in the next chapter.